Welcome back, my name is Last No Meal, and today we're going to talk about Netflix The Witcher. Well, we have a lot of info to go through because Netflix didn't release one video, but three featuring Geralt, Yennefer and Cirilla. These videos serve as an introduction to the characters and also gives us a glimpse of the season 1 and what they want to do with it. Now, I'm going to leave you all the timestamps below when I start talking about each character, so feel free to navigate. Also, before we begin, just a short reminder that GOG Galaxy 2 Open Beta is out. It's a new launcher which connects all of your launchers into one, so if you're interested in learning more, the link is down below. Now, first off, we will talk about Geralt of Rivia. The feature trailer gives us a very nice shot at the beginning and the voice telling Geralt, "You don't believe in destiny or lesser evil, what do you believe in?" Now, what do I believe in is that this could be the voice of Renfri, because that story will be featured, I believe, in the first episode, when Geralt has to finally decide what to choose and somewhat include himself into the world he was trying to stay away from. And then after that, we finally got the first look at the Jaskier played by Joey Batey, and I can only say from the two shots we will talk about, the chemistry is amazing, and I do strongly believe that Joey is going to do one hell of a job in the first season, because from the moment he talks and how he mimics stuff. Now, as he is describing a Witcher, you can see all the familiar characteristics of the character we got used to. And in the second scene, when Jaskier and Geralt are walking and he says to him, "You smell of death and destiny," and then Geralt replies, "It's onion," his face was priceless. I'm also glad that the humor between Jaskier and Geralt is still there. It really can capture a mood of the Witcher we got used to, especially from the books, so I'm glad that they paid attention to this in the show. Also, they gave a longer look at the fight with the Kikimor, and holy crap, it's so well shot. For someone who finished the film school, to see all these scenes and how they are portrayed, it's so good to the point you see Geralt struggling a bit to kill it. But just the scope of the monster shows you how prepared you have to be to fight it. Geralt was full of potions just before this fight, and they delivered so far on the promise to have more menacing monsters in a way to not make them fantastic, but to make them like they come straight out of hell. Henry also talks a lot about who Geralt is as a character, that behind the stone-cold exterior there is a good man. But he's also not afraid to kill, and then it goes to the shot in Sintra, where we didn't actually see any blood during the fight with Duny and everyone else, and I was certain he was knocking them out. Well, seems not. We also have a moment between Geralt and Yennefer that is to be expected, but their relationship is going to be complicated. And I really want to see this chemistry in the show. Hopefully the chemistry between them is believable and good, but so far from these couple of shots, you know, it looks really good, but it's a whole different story once you have a whole shot set up and you have pauses between each dialogue, etc, etc. That's something I want to see. And Henry basically gave us a brief info of the character, and I'm so glad he knows what he's talking about here, especially since he's a fan of the books and games, and I'm certain that these videos are done for people who don't know anything about The Witcher and just want to be introduced with the characters that they're going to expand upon in the season 1. Now, moving on to Yennefer, her featurette is focused a lot on her past, and it seems the show is going to push her background a lot more so that people can, you know, get to know her. I believe that there are two ways of approaching this. Number one is to show all the past in the first season, then continue to expand the character in later seasons, or to have her backstory develop as episodes and seasons go on, somewhat of a retrospective of her past. But I think this approach is better since this is an introductory season. After that, in the season 2, the actual saga begins, so you don't want to bother with that. You still have to include more characters, you have to expand on the story. So I'm glad that they're kind of finishing this backstory in the first season, so they don't have to worry about it later. First thing we see is Yennefer before she became a sorceress. She was born with a deformed spine and a jaw abnormality, as Anya likes to put it. They did a nice job on the prosthetics here. They didn't try to make that ugly, beautiful look, if you know what I mean. Usually, in some films and series, a character is going to be deformed or wounded, bruised, but the makeup is done in a way to still, you know, make you beautiful in a sense and not actually deformed and wounded. I'm glad that here they didn't do that, but really went on with her damaged looks, and it shows in these scenes, and that can also be better for the actual transformation, because if you don't have a believable, face and, body when she was deformed, the change is going to be subtle, but here, it's a whole different story. Now, her father sold her to a sorceress, and just in this shot, it looks so good. And I also really like the scene where she hits the mirror because she can't stand to look at herself that way. The change and emotions she shows are really, really well done. Not gonna lie, I am more and more interested in her portrayal as Yen, and the more I see these trailers and the amount of work, each actor puts in, they really earned my respect. Even though she wasn't a fan favorite, when the casting ended, I still said give people a chance to show what they can do, and in these couple of shots, they're showing a lot what they can do. Now, Anya talks about the arc Yennefer is going to go through, because in this season she has to go from that weak little deformed girl to become one of the most powerful sorceresses out there. Also, some of the fighting scenes she has really show her power and this chaos she has in herself, give her that push and generate so much destruction that she is capable of doing anything. I believe in one shot she just snaps someone's neck with magic, and it's like so well done. It shows how powerful she can become. And third feature we have is of course with Ciri. Now, did you know that the original pitch for the show allegedly was meant for Ciri to be the main protagonist, but in the end they decided to follow mostly Geralt, but also include Ciri and Yennefer a lot in the story with their backgrounds, and I'm certain the show will follow them a lot, along with Geralt of course. And honestly, I'm glad they didn't go with that first one, because I don't want to see Ciri as a main character yet, because I believe she's still not the Ciri that, we kinda want to carry the show. She couldn't carry the story in that sense. Her character is still young and naive, and to actually have 7 seasons of Ciri, going through that and, include Geralt just there as a side character wouldn't really fit well, because they're all so connected that you have to give all 3 somewhat similar attention, especially in the first season. Of course, Geralt has to be the first one, and you couldn't really imagine The Witcher without Geralt. And if I would actually do a story of Cirilla as a main character, I would probably do a spin-off after, when she grows up a bit. I wouldn't mind, in The Witcher 3 when you have Ciri all grown up. Even though it's not canon to the books, that's kind of the Ciri that could carry the show in that sense. I could be wrong, but I'm just glad they went on with this. And I'm not saying that the actress is bad, and she won't be able to portray that. No, it's just from the character sense, she's not yet ready to do that. And I'm glad that they went with this. Now, Ciri's trailer is focused on her change from a princess and the controlled environment of the castle she lives in into a runner that has to survive in the cruel world that is around him. It starts with this red scene. Now, I am not sure if this is a vision or her power or a dream or something like that, because she is someone who has elder blood. I won't go too far to spoil anything, but she is kinda special. She is also schooled by Queen Calanthe through the entire video. She says to her that she must keep her sword with her at all times and always be ready for anything. That's like lesson 1. And the lesson 2 at the end of the trailer is knowing when to stop running, and she has to go and find Geralt of Rivia. I think I'm certain that in the last episode they will all kind of, be together, but we'll see what happens. There is going to be a lot of her backstory, but they can easily tie that with the Nilfgaardian invasion, which is going to take everyone she knew from her in just one night. So the change of character has to be, fast. Imagine if you were, a princess or a prince, and then someone attacks the castle, kills everyone, and you have to go live in the world, which is not that nice. So imagine the change you would go through, how you would change your character, how you would become this different person in order to survive in that world. Also, Cahir is in the trailer. He's going to hunt her everywhere, and I believe that this is the moment when she finally escapes looking for Geralt, separating the ground between them. Now, going back to the red scene, it's probably a dream, because in that dream you have Kahir that she's afraid of, so that might be after she escapes. You know, all the fears and everything that happened to her is, you know, coming back. You can also visibly see that she is not your classical princess, but someone who is not afraid to get her hands dirty. But as a character, she is still naive and weak mentally. Now, her powers though, she's capable of destroying everyone in that room if she knew how. But she hasn't still discovered her powers. And again, all of these scenes, you know, cinematography and production design wise, look amazing. I really did not anticipate that Netflix is going to go all in with this, but they have to. You can't half-ass, you know, this story. You can't do something with a half budget, which is going to give you this world. It's impossible. It won't look good. So I'm glad that they invested a lot of money, because with the budget they have and with the budget they're going to have in the later seasons, they can really portray the world of the Witchers as it's, you know, it's supposed to be portrayed. And I'm also glad when it comes to monsters, they really go with this, you know, more of a practical effects rather than CGI. And also in one scene when Geralt uses the Ard, I think this might be the scene when he is fighting the Striga. So this might be the Striga in front of him. And if this is true, then whoa, it's gonna be one crazy fight. And I really wonder who she talks, you know, in the end. But that horse might be the same in this shot where she's lying in that burned area, almost if she just landed there in some sort. But I'm not sure if that's connected. It might be, but we'll have to see. It is a bit difficult to talk about this without spoiling anything for you, but hopefully you learned something from this and enjoyed the video. More is definitely coming as we are getting closer to the Season 1 release. Now definitely subscribe and like this video if you want to be updated around anything Witcher related, and tell me down below what you think about this. And also visit us on Twitter and Discord if you want to continue the discussion there. And this is LKM signing out, stay classy everyone, and bye bye.